welcome to Jesus Loves Joe. I'm Donna, and today we have a special segment. We've got Lucas Brandenburg with Brandenburg Plumbing on today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And he's going to be our guest speaker. And we were, yeah, you're like, well, so we met through B&I, our business group.
Yeah.
And we thought, you know what? We should do a segment on what we're about to talk about soon.
Yes, like work-life balance and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and also you've done radio before.
I've done like some radio. I've done like the traffic and weather, and like I would chime in during like a mortgage show, and usually they were just talking about how tired I looked or whatever, It wasn't like crazy, all right?
So we didn't see you on like the channel like the...
No, but people heard me from 4 to 6 in San Antonio from like 2008 to 2010, letting them know where the traffic was. It was cool, except it was like Google was already a thing, and so I was like, there's a wreck on Manchac, and it's like, well, your phone already knows that. Like, it was already kind of antiquated, but it felt cool for sure.
Hey, I wonder, yeah, that's pretty cool. We lived in San Antonio. I wonder if I probably heard you on the...
It was a 106.7 FM talk. It was like a conservative talk show. They had, like Man Cow and various, I don't know, conservative radio hosts and stuff. So,
Man Cow.
Yeah,
okay.
Man Cow. He was a big deal, all right, back in
okay.
the day,
okay.
anyway.
Well, okay, on that note, our scripture lesson today is, we were talking about the importance of work-life balance, but then also you and I struggle. We talked about the similarity of just finding joy, especially when you're a business owner, and walking in that joy. So the scripture lesson today I thought would be good through prayer was Psalm 118:24. And it says, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." I don't do that often enough.
No, it's almost impossible. It's so hard. You wake up in the morning and you think about all the things you have to do. And this is like part of how we became friends, is like shared trauma almost with how busy our days are. I mean, trauma's too strong a word, but when you wake up in the morning, a lot of times you like feel dread, especially in the Monday to Friday. And like, you don't take the time to think about like all the good things that are happening. You actually woke up that morning. Like, you can start there. That's great.
Yeah. You woke up in like chaos and disarray and
right. And so you don't really feel like you're going to seize the day. You don't feel like you have to learn to control the chaos, which is what we're going to talk about today for the most part. And there was just so many similarities. Even our walks of life are so different in a way. Like, I own a plumbing company and you run a nonprofit Christian organization, which you don't necessarily think of how those are so similar, but they absolutely are. And you just kind of, every morning you wake up and you feel like you're getting just swallowed up. And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with your day-to-day with kids and family and customers and all these things? What do you do? What does the Bible say? What does Scripture say? How do you do these kind of things? Because I've heard on your podcast, you always say the Bible, you'll always be like, this is like instructions of how to deal with things. And I thought that was like kind of cool. So I'm not as like versed as you, so I'm very interested to see what you say about all these things.
Oh, wow. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the whole book memorized. I need to, but it's in my heart, some of the scripture, that I can keep with me, but that requires just studying daily. It's like anything else. Like, okay, I'm going to go on a limb because I have no idea anything about plumbing, but we're going to compare.
Okay.
Because I want to hear the similarities you said, but I could make a lot of jokes right now, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Like
everyone has everyone has their jokes. All right.
Okay. But now I just lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
We were talking about seizing the day in the Bible and all this and being swallowed by the void. Continue.
Okay. So, so tell us your like day-to-day life struggles that as far as work, like I'm going to let you just tell everyone kind of what you do.
Okay.
Because I want to know, like, what does the day in the life of a plumber look like?
Okay.
Well, don't tell us what it looks like.
I'll try to it's not gross. It varies. There's a lot of chaos to it, but at the end of the day, I wake up, I get my daughter to school, and I go to work. I'm there at 8:00. That's when all my plumbers get there. they will be bombarding me with questions about their jobs and different materials they need and all this kind of stuff. So from about 8 to 9:30, it's total chaos. And then after that, it's addressing customers. People call in, they want to talk to me. And the thing is, the part of the chaos is the day is a customer that wants to talk to me might talk for 10 minutes. They might talk for an hour and a half. You know, I have a lot of like senior citizens, and I might be who they get to talk to that day. Their whole day is based around, you know, getting to talk to me. And then after that, I mean, it's pulling permits, it's helping plumbers with estimates, it's sourcing parts, it's all of these things. And then all of that would be easy. Like if I lived alone with my dog, like that's all fine, right? But my wife is the theater teacher at the high school, and I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she goes to dance 3 times a week, and my wife has rehearsal a couple times a week. And then on Friday, there's the football games. And the real struggle becomes like the more full your life is, the more chaotic it can feel, and the more you can feel like you're drowning. But like you want your life to be full. So how do you deal with that? Which is some of what we were going to talk about today, which is like processes and things like that. But I just know in talking to you and describing the chaos of my day, there were so many similarities because you're a mom of these kids and they're wonderful and they do all these things, right? And they have all these interests and you want to support them, but then you also want to support your work and all these things. So I felt like we were a little bit like kindred spirits in that it's not the work, it's not the family, it's not all this, it's all of that together is what really causes you to struggle a little bit sometimes.
And I think we can get caught up in doing things. And I know we've said in our previous podcast, you can get bogged down just pleasing men instead of looking to please God. And so filling our day when we could actually, in some examples, cut back on things like you told me that one time when we were in our business group, you were like, I was like talking about delivering this coffee and you're like, why would you do that? I almost
started yelling. I was like, that is not a good use of your time.
I know. And so, but we do that. But one of the things I was hearing you say is what an opportunity for ministry, because people that you go and provide services for, you have their direct attention. And 99% of the time, it's not all just about plumbing. Like something comes up in that conversation, and just even you helping the ministry, your business helping our ministry with our new bookstore and everything that we're doing. But I mean, what would that look like? And I'm sure you do that, but are you intentional about maybe? I'm
intentional about, so one of the best parts about plumbing, of course, it's like you're playing with Legos all day, but you do get a direct line into the customers' lives. I'll go to people who maybe just had a family member pass or that are just getting married. You know, maybe it's a fun thing. And for some reason, and I don't know what it is, maybe I just chatter the whole time I'm at a customer and they feel comfortable, but they will tell me so much about their life. And maybe it's about church and, you know, you'll see Bibles up and stuff. I'm always looking, and you're looking for some way to connect with people. And the great thing is for me is when I hear people that are struggling with something or something like that, I can always give advice and I can tell them where to find help or what I might do, which feels really egotistical to me sometimes because I'm like, oh, thanks for telling me all your problems. Let me solve them for you right now, which is, you know, kind of a man thing to do, right? But for the most part, like what I liked about weekday ministries is number one, it makes people feel better when I talk about it. I talk about it all the time. Like plumbers are the best thing to become friends with. If you have a business, anything, we talk to people all day long and they trust us. And so I can tell them about what's going on with weekday ministries. I tell them what my wife is doing and all this stuff with the kids. And I'm able to kind of influence them quite a bit, even as a plumber, which people don't think of it that way because we're like dirty tradesmen in a way, right?
I didn't think of that.
But I am in people's homes all day, every day. I have 6 different plumbers that run 4 to 5 different calls a day. So I'm in 30 homes a day. And then over the course of the year, I mean, our customer list is around 10,000 people, which for Burnett County, that's an awful lot of people. It's a significant portion of the population. So we're able to kind of affect change pretty well, actually.
I love that because one of the inspirations of starting Weekday Ministries is to bring Christ to people where they are during a busy work week. And you're doing that. And that's like a testament. Even so, it's like most people, like you said at the beginning, who would think a pastor and a plumber would have things in common that they could relate, and we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I kind of want to turn this in this direction. You know, you're a business owner, and so you do have a little bit more responsibilities, just a little.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, you're a business owner too, in a lot of ways.
No, I mean like then just the plumbing work and going out on the field.
Then all that, like I have some responsibilities to the community I'm in and things like that. Yeah.
Some sense, you know, you're in leadership, right? So why do you think, because I think when you're in leadership, it can be very difficult to have that work-life balance.
Absolutely, because you feel such an obligation and kind of like the burden of the leadership that every time that you're not helping someone, it means that you're hurting someone. It almost feels that way. And so it's hard to just stop. You know, you have, like you said, when I complained and you're like, well, I'll deliver the coffee to you. And it's like, no, that's one like, don't do that. You are helping way more people because you're up at the top. You have people down below you. My plumbers are who goes and does the plumbing. I don't do that very often. So I can like multiply myself in that way. But I guess I almost always feel one of the hardest things about leadership is you always feel like you're disappointing someone. You're either failing your family or you're failing your customers and your business and your employees, you know, depending on what it is you're actually giving your time to. And it's really hard to find the balance of that to where you feel like you're doing well at both. So
Galatians 1:10 states, well, don't quote me on this, but you got to look it
up.
up.
It's memorized.
Am I trying to please man or am I trying to please God? For if I was trying to just please man, then I wouldn't be a servant of God.
Right.
Something like that, because that's off the. But I know maybe we can put it on the screen. But what would our life look like though if we were really seeking out what God has for us in that day instead of what we feel obligated to man, like that we're letting them down in that sense?
Okay, so I don't know if this is going to answer your question correctly, and we don't necessarily use it in these words, but serving God is serving man, and serving man may not be serving God. So you should always be seeking to serve God because that in turn serves man. So like this is going to be the wildest comparison. We try to serve all of our employees and make their life better and pay them more and all that. And by doing that, we serve the customer. You know, it's like Amazon's like, oh, all customer first. No, we go all employee first, and then that serves the customers. In the same sense that if you are serving God, you are serving man. It's not a dichotomy in my mind.
So, but with that, you and I struggle with this. How are you serving in the capacity, like taking care of you?
That's really hard to do. I depend on my family for that mostly. I know that there are a lot of things about myself that I need. I need a lot of quiet time. I'm not actually much of a people person. I don't like to talk that much. And so in order for me, and this kind of ties into it, if I'm going to serve people well, I have to serve myself well. And of course there's a line, like I can't just sit at home and sit in the dark and watch Netflix all day. Like that doesn't work. But if I serve myself, I take that time, whether it's, meditation, prayer, whatever it is that helps center your mind, you will then serve everyone else better. So that's kind of how I view it. Whenever I start getting really, my mind's racing, or I can feel myself getting angry all the time, because I have a bit of a temper, like my father. But I have to know when that's happening, what I need to do. And it may just be a 5-minute car ride in the car, listening to music or something. But if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be able to take care of anybody else.
So I think in much prayer, meditation, and trying to like control everything in my life and make sure it goes that way. I think for me, the biggest part is having that time before you walk out the door and start serving in quiet prayer, and what does your day look like? Like, I do know some people that typically just wake up and just fly out the door. I have to like envision what my day is like, or what do I have to do? I have to know beforehand, but not everybody does.
I remember us fighting about this because you're like, my day really can't start until like 9:30. And I was like, okay.
Well, okay. So all of this came to be because in our business group, it starts early, and there's a lot of tradesmen.
It starts early. It's 8:30.
Listen, I'm up, but nobody wants to be. Well, I don't want to be ready and ready for the day by then. So typically, I'm really not.
Yeah.
But that's how our conversation got started on all this. Like, you're like, what? You can't get ready by 8:30, and
I'll tell you one of the things, and maybe this ties into it, and my guys always make fun of me for it because, I'll have an apprentice with me or whatever all the time. I don't listen to music in my truck like almost ever. I like it to be quiet, and that's when I think. And if I don't have someone with me, it's happened before that I'll talk to myself out loud, and someone will be sitting there, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is what I do. I talk to myself. I have conversation. This is how I center myself, because I have to fly out the door. Kids got to get to school, all this stuff. So my drive time is when I get to do that.
Or listen to Jesus Loves Joe.
Indeed.
That's what I was hoping you would say. But
okay, well, I'll try harder.
All right, so we've covered some of those things, but one of the things when you and I were bouncing back and forth questions, I like this one, and this one challenges me. It's balance is ongoing, not a one-time achievement.
No. Yeah, it's absolutely always ongoing because your life changes, season to season, day to day. And so you're always trying to find that balance. And you come up with a lot of tricks to it. Like even BNI was something for me that achieved some balance. Like I'd go and I'd eat breakfast and talk to people, and I wasn't at the office doing this thing. Or maybe when my wife is in dress rehearsal week and she's not going to get home till 10 o'clock every night, it's like, what do I do in that time? What do I do with my daughter? What activities do I have that can be calm and quiet? And so you never really just come up with a plan. I mean, maybe when you're like retired and don't have a job anymore, you can just like, this is what I do on Monday and this is what I do on Tuesday.
Hey, I do that now.
All right. Well, some people have it better than others. Executive pastor.
No, they just have,
No, everybody's life
organized.
is very chaotic, and it changes constantly, and so you constantly have to work on it. You can't really go on autopilot, and you have to be reminding yourself all the time to take care of yourself.
So what are the triggers? Because I start every week with, I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday folder. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty nerdy. I know, but it works.
Like real paper. All right.
Yeah, I know. Old school.
All right.
But what are the triggers? Like, how do you know when you're not balanced? I mean, what starts to spiral out of control, or when do you get those, hey, you need to recenter, refocus?
What are they for you? Just so I know I'm not a crazy person.
Oh.
Yeah. How do you know when you're spinning out?
Well, I start trying to cram too many things in my day. Like, and you seem to pop around and do some kind of plumbing work for us and see me in the most stressful times. And you're like, But for me, it's like, I notice that I'm literally running from one thing to another, and I'm starting to get anxiety, and I'm like, whoa, this isn't good for anybody, because I was noticing today I had more time. I got to work early, and my coworkers couldn't believe it. They were like, whoa, she didn't. But what was nice about that is when I slowed down, I could actually be more intentional about the things that I was working on. And I think that's critical, because sometimes we can get so busy and trying to juggle so many things that I'm not going to make the joke. What is it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep.
But I can get so sloppy in everything I'm doing and just doing the bare minimum. But if we actually kind of let go of some things and slow down, it's like those things that you focus on with that intentionality, they tend to thrive.
Yeah, so this has been something I've actually been working on. Even this week, we've been talking about it a lot. Like, I do everything in a Google Calendar, and it's shared with, the guy that answers my phones and a bunch of different people, so they know what I'm doing all the time. And if that thing gets completely full and it's scheduled minute to minute to minute, everything falls apart and I stop doing a good job. Like you have to build in extra time in your day. If you try and like be the every person, the every woman, it doesn't work. Like, and you might look at it and be like, oh, my schedule's not even full today. I'm not even doing anything from 1 to 3. Yeah, keep that there. That's a good thing. Like, don't just keep overburdening yourself and constantly be looking to delegate. That's one of the roles of a leader, is finding out what can other people do for me so I can do more of the things that I'm here for. You know, you're there to empower them. So you have to be very careful about that.
You know, you brought up a good point. I actually put that somewhere on my notes that I'm not looking at.
Yeah.
That's where I made a mistake too. I would schedule this perfect schedule, but I never allowed time for moments. Those kind of moments that.
Yeah. Well, and those times, they get taken up anyway. I mean, things come up. You have people walk into your shop and they want to talk to you, and you want to talk to them, and then that's an hour and a half, and now your whole day is thrown off. You know, and so you have to be very careful about being overscheduled in that way. It's fun to talk to you because, I mean, I haven't been a business owner all that long. It's been like 2.5 years, and my dad was before that, so I know a little bit about it. But a lot of the struggles that I had in the beginning of taking over the business, you know, I had all these just grand dreams of how amazing I was, and I'm going to be able to handle this, and I'll take on this, and I'll go out to jobs, and it all fell apart pretty quickly. I realized I needed a whole lot of help, and I get that from you a lot. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but you want to be at everything. You want to help with everything. You want to make sure that your stamp is put on all of this. If someone's struggling with something, by golly, Donna's going to be there and help them out. And what happens is you start to fall apart, and everything, like the quality of everything goes down. Rather than empowering someone, like, one of the big things that we try to do when an employee calls me with a problem is I just reflect it back at them. You know, if they're like, you know, I'm working on this water heater and I can't figure out how to do that. And I'm like, well, how would you figure out how to do that? And they're like, well, I'd probably call the manufacturer and do this. I'm like, that sounds good. You might do that. And it just, yeah. And then the next time they won't call me. They'll just do the thing, you know?
Yes, I'm guilty of over functioning for people.
Yeah.
But it's not just in my work. I've learned through like over the years and trial and error that it happens in my personal life too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's just something that I'm a fixer. Like I just want to fix everything.
Yeah, and it's probably, you're a high achiever, so you've probably always been good at a lot of things throughout your life, right? Like cheerleading, all that stuff, right? You always kind of, okay.
Yeah, well,
yeah. You always kind of excelled at things. And I run into this too. You know, I own the business with my brother, and he'll say, you know, somebody needs to be looking over estimates and following up with customers. Who should do that? And I'm like, oh, I should do that. I'd be the best one for it. And he's like, well, of course you would. You've been plumbing since you were 10. He was like, but then you're not there to answer calls. You're not there to pull the permits and talk to vendors and all that stuff. Instead, you're doing this. Like, who else could do this? And who could you train to do this and make them more valuable? And whether they're working for us or anybody else, now they're more valuable and they'll make more money. Why don't you do that? Because you probably are the best option for most things at Weekday Ministry. You started this. You know everything about it. And so you're the best person for every single job. But you're not the best person to do all of the jobs.
No, and I will say that maybe 5 or so years ago that would have been the case, but we have grown in so many ways. We have, I think, over 70 volunteers now. But what's pretty awesome is our staff. We have an incredible staff, and I feel like for the first time in almost 10 years since we've been running this ministry, I can step back.
Yes.
Because it's like they're showing, wow, there's so many things they do better than I even would think to do. And I think that there's key in that. If, you know, in the right hands, if you allow other people to work as God called them to, you'd be shocked. Like, it exceeds your expectations and builds upon ways you've never even thought possible or even thought of. Yeah.
When you're a leader, you're in the business of building people. You know, a lot of the plumbers that come to me, it's all walks of life. One of my best guys was working at Sonic when he applied with us. I've had, you know, people from unemployment or pest control or anything else, you know, making $12 an hour, who knows. And now they're, in the low, they might make $100,000 now, and they have a house, and they're married, and they're having kids. And my job is to create those people, because they'll go out and, make me money. But as a leader, that is what
Being
you
honest.
do. You're not working on any one thing. The guy that answers my phone, God, he's great. Mike is his name. And he's really, really good at that. And I'm going to help him with that, but that's his sole focus. My sole focus is people. And if I can build people, then my business gets better and better.
So would you say then it's really key to pay attention to the gifts that God has given you and honor them? And live that out through what he's calling you. And because we each as one body have all different gifts. It's like functioning body. And I think sometimes when we try to operate in other people's giftings,
I guess that's part of it. You have to identify the gifts that were given to the people that work for you. Yeah. I have guys that are great at, certain things. Maybe they're really good at water treatment. Maybe they're super kind to the customers. I won't name any names. I have a plumber that all the customers absolutely adore. They're not my most technically knowledgeable one, but I know who they need to go to, which customers they need to go to, because we have customers in all different walks of life. So that's part of what I'm doing, is looking at that. So recognizing the gifts that you were given absolutely is important. But in this vein of having a balance in your life, I always talk so big, but maximizing the people around you is the big thing. What are they good at? And how do you help that? So.
Well, and in that, when we do that, then we can finally try for one day even to obtain this scripture verse about this is the day the Lord has made, and to rejoice in that.
Yeah. Like, which day of the week are you most excited for?
It's always Fridays. Everybody's always for the weekend, right?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Wednesdays, because you do podcasts on Wednesdays.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, everybody, I thought you were saying consensus. It's like,
no, like, what day are you most excited for?
It just depends. Because I will say, it's like sometimes my busyness will dictate my attitude towards the day. Oh, man, I got this kind of a day coming, so.
Okay.
But what would it look like if we did? If we started our day rejoicing, like, I get to do this today. Yeah. But part of how we get to that point is, like you were saying, we have to stay consistent with our boundaries. Yeah.
What's your favorite part of doing weekday ministry? It's probably hard to pick one, but, like, what do you like the most? I know you do the lunch. You'll have great names for everything.
So I actually have Hope takes over that part now, and Bobby and we have Jerry running some things. Yeah. My favorite part is it really is a combination of everything. That's why there's so many components also. However, right now the newest for me is opening the Christian bookstore. But it's not so. What's funny is I didn't read when I was younger. Like, I was always the one, like, I'll just watch the movie.
Yeah.
So God has a sense of humor, but what's so fun for me, it's that I get to direct people to be closer to God through, like, if you were to come in, hey, Donna, I'm new, I haven't had a Bible, and all walks of life, and I get to direct them in the sense of, here, this would be good for you. And so it's that guidance, but then also too, like, just
does that happen a lot? Like, when people come in and maybe they're just looking for a Bible, but then you get into a larger discussion about faith and all that. Probably, right?
Well, we haven't opened yet. We're going to open soon, but yes, you know me.
Yeah,
people have to set timers when they come visit me, because we will be here for like hours. No, I'm just joking, but absolutely. I've always been the type, like, I can be friends with just anybody. It just, I don't have a specific type. I just, for me, it's building those relationships. So that's one of my favorite parts is really sharing the gospel and building those relationships and helping people grow closer to God in their daily walk.
Do you recognize that as like a gift that you have, that God gave you?
Yeah. And I will say that that's a calling. Yeah. However, like, to be a pastor, but sometimes you really have to like continuously seek the Lord and all of that, because that faith can waver sometimes. And so just being confident in your call.
What do you mean it can waver sometimes?
Oh, here we go.
You're a pastor. Come on.
Yeah. Well, just like doubting Thomas, you read about like pastors doubt too. And sometimes like, especially when I was first called into ministry, I was like, no, me? Like I was just I had no clue. And my family jokes like, where did you come from? Like,
so like doubting in the sense that like, am I really the person that gets to do like an imposter syndrome type thing?
Almost
kind of thing?
like it's like, but it's when God works through us.
Yeah.
So like me by myself, no, but God equips us for what he's called us to do. And just like, we may not have all the answers. Like I know when you first probably got into plumbing, and you may have been plumbing since you were 10, but when you started taking over the business, there was times when you're like, what am I doing?
I still doubt myself every day.
Yeah.
I have imposter syndrome all the time, but some of that, and I'll, one of the things that I like about what you just said is like that pastors have doubt, and you can't, do they really? All of my favorite faith leaders in my life, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and whether it was priests or anything else, what I wanted to hear was about their struggles. Like the people that are really perfect, and portray themselves that way, that's not interesting. It doesn't help me with my life.
It's not relatable.
No, not at all. So I think that's probably why you're good at it, is because it is a struggle and something you have to work on all the time. And you need to always be, whether it's studying or praying or whatever, like it's good to know that even someone of your position has to do that. So I think that's one of the reasons like my employees, they love me, is because I completely doubt myself all the time. And one of the things that I do more than anything, and what I've liked, when I'm going to mass or anything, is like, tell me about failures. And I talk about my failures all the time. I talk to my daughter about failures I've had as a little kid, try and help her relate. Like that's a really nice thing. And what I have found is if you're willing to be vulnerable in that way, which is something that you do pretty well, it forms connections with people so much stronger than just trying to tout yourself as some paragon of faith, No,
like there's an age difference, but I probably could have been your babysitter back in the day. But if you went to high school with me, like I was a lot of fun, but like I wasn't always walking the path I should have been walking.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things, and I think if somebody would have told me this earlier, because I didn't get invited, like nobody, I was always going to church and finding myself at church camps or whatever at some point, but nobody ever told me back then, hey, like Christ died for us when we were yet sinners. Like it's okay. And God meets you where you are, because, and that was a portion of this ministry, is to like, because I can tell you when people first meet me, they're like, oh, I can't say that in front of you. And I'm like, what do you think I am? I'm serving in this capacity of what God has called me to, but relatable. Yeah. Like, and that's what it's like. It breaks down those walls. Like we're human too.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely. So, I think you do a great job of that. Maybe you've said this in podcasts before or something, but how did you get into weekday ministries?
So I was actually serving, churches in the area. I was a senior pastor at a lot of churches, associate pastor before then. And I was convicted at my last church because I kept, as the service would.
Convicted, is that the word?
Yeah. I was convicted because I'd say, go out and be the church. And I was like, okay, well, what does that look like? Because then I'd go home and take a nap.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you do at the church.
Yeah, right? Much needed rest. But as time went on, it was like, okay, I kept feeling this nudge. And so I was like, all right, I'll just start a Bible study at a coffee shop that opened like, and there was like 3 people that showed up, and I was like, okay, cool. Because this is going to take a while. And then within a year we were doing just different worship services in the community and really reaching people where they were. It looked a little different. We had some of the ministries, and then I wanted to fill the gaps of what the churches weren't, for whatever reason, couldn't get into different places. And so we started a mission portion, which helping kids and clothing them. So so I was a traditional church pastor before this. And so this ministry, what I love too is I wasn't able to be at my kids' events that were happening during church. And so I was missing a lot of that too. And while that's a whole nother podcast, but for me, it's like, you know what? I'm going to create this ministry to where it's a school. I'm not called to be a school teacher, but I'm going to I love their schedule. So, so we're off.
My wife's going to burn your house down.
Hey, I use that term a lot on the podcast. I'm kidding. But so we're off when the schools are off. And so but you know what I found? What's awesome is one of our executive directors, she's a former principal, retired school teacher.
That's
so
right,
we bring in a lot of, so really God can do so many things with whatever situation. And when you're called, it's like, cause I remember the first time I took off this summer, I didn't think I'd have a ministry coming back. And here we are 10 years later, but
it's still there.
It's great fine. Because it's like this mini sabbatical. Like we're talking about, like giving yourself time and you come back even stronger. Yeah,
absolutely. So. And I was just going to like hearing what you're talking about. The thing that I really liked about it is, you saying, we're going to clothe kids. We just started with this Bible study. What it seemed like you were really looking for was like action within it. I mean, a lot of people, they go to church on Sunday, they put the money in the plate and they sing their songs and they go home. But the action that y'all take, you are intentional about, okay, well, who do we want to help? And just like you said, like, I always kind of like teacher schedules. You have a teacher that works here. Like the way that you think is very much like them, like you want to help children, and which is probably why they're gravitating towards you. I heard about y'all long before I ever met you from my wife, because, as a company, we were always looking for like, who are we going to support? You get really bogged down in the day-to-day of work, but why do you work? I mean, there's a bunch of reasons, right? You got to pay your bills, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, one of the reasons should be that you want to help people and give yourself the means to do that. And so we were looking for somewhere. My wife was like, well, I know about this place and they help these kids and they clothe them and everything. And that really resonated with me because I didn't always have the most money growing up. Like I always had good clothes. My parents would kill me if I didn't say that. But, I wanted even nicer clothes. I know how much it affects you, the way you look in school. Because, I mean, we can all, like, as you get older, I think sometimes you forget how mean some kids can be or things like that. But if you have good clothes, you can, smell okay, all that stuff. It's so important.
Well, we include toiletries.
Yeah, so you're taking action, which is so nice, which it's fun talking to you about it because you can see the passion of it and why you allow your life to be as busy as it is and have to work as hard as you do is because you care about this thing so much. For me, like in plumbing, a lot of it was legacy. My dad's a plumber, grandfather was a plumber, great-grandfather, all this stuff. But I really like being involved with this because I do like the idea of that. I don't know if it's so much like ministry. I'm not like a minister type person, but like being involved with an organization that is doing that. And also like, it doesn't take a massive amount of my time to be like a part of this and do all this because y'all are doing it. But in any way that I can help, you always need help. You need volunteers. You need a sink that works. You need good water. What can I do to aid the people that are aiding the people I want to help? I guess
that's awesome.
That makes any sense.
We're utilizing your gifts and we just got started. You're like, oh, it doesn't take a lot of time. Just wait. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Next year you're going to be like on staff. No,
that'll
I'm just
be
joking.
fine. That'll be fine.
Okay. So in wrapping up for people listening today, we've covered a lot of things, but I think really what's pretty impressive and that God does is just bringing together our businesses and nonprofits and working together and it's like you said, it's just like, what in the world would we have in common? And God uses that to continue to further his kingdom and if we allow him to, but that work-life balance it's crucial.
For everybody. And I mean, like I say, I think you're kind of running a business in a way. You got to start thinking that way because you're the face of weekday ministries. But one of the great things is I think, everyone's like, oh, I would love to do that and just help the kids and stuff. But there's so much more to it. You need economic engines behind that. And that's how I view the companies that either give money or they give time or they give materials or whatever it is to y'all. Like, you allow me to give back in a much broader, stronger way than I ever could on my own, because I'm running a plumbing company. I can't do both things. And so the fact that you're here makes it to where I can do both things in a lot of ways. And that's very satisfying to me. If I was trying to do all the things you're doing, my life would fall apart. It'd be way too much to do.
Because God's called you to serve in your business. But there's still also this connection to serve him.
Exactly.
So, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
That was very insightful. And we didn't even have that plan. We're like, just let the Spirit work. Because we had some thoughts, but I didn't even.
Yeah, I knew we would talk for a long time, because every time we talk, we talk for so long.
But good stuff. And thanks for joining us. And if you're listening and need a plumber, but also too, we hope you were blessed by the conversation, and just to be mindful of taking that time to just be balanced, because you never know how God can work in your life when you do. So until next time, subscribe, different topic each week. And yes, we're vulnerable, real life, real people, what the Bible says to guide us through. And subscribe and share it with a friend. Till next time.